Hey all, welcome to Friday. We're heading into the weekend, and this is also going to sort of round out our look at the Wreck and Rule sets that I have. Now you might say, wait, you only looked at one set. Well, I didn't get the bulkhead. I have the Legacy bulkhead. I don't need a camouflage version of that mold. It's a great mold. I just don't need it. Same goes for the Springer. I have the Siege Springer. I'm not in for a UK Marvel Comics slash G1 Toy Deco 4 Springer, so I didn't need the Springer, and I think the Twin Twist is fantastic. I have the original from Titan's Return. I mean, I paid $17.99 for that. For a red and blue version, a Diaclone colored version being $35.99, $36.99. It didn't make any sense to me. If I had missed the original, I 100% would have gotten this one. But I didn't miss the original, so it is what it is. So what does that leave us with? And that leaves us with this 2-pack. And this is Masterdominus, which is basically, with some remolded parts, it's basically the Ractonite mold. And G2 Leadfoot, a character that I didn't really know about until now, but boy oh boy, that yellow and blue on the pictures looked real slick. How will these two fare in real life, in hand, in real life on the table? Well, we're about to find out when we jump into the latest GotBot True review. Hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, man, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe while you're at it, loud of my baby. Hit that notification bell, man. It helps me out a ton. It lets you know where content, it lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, the Everything Factor, all of the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that in the description down below. Also in the description down below, and if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon and see what we have to offer to you through spring. Or of course, you can hit the join button right here on YouTube and become a channel member at any time. And this is Leadfoot and Masterdominus. So again, this is one of those cases where if you didn't like the fossilizer gimmick, you're not going to like this. If you didn't like the Ractonite, I don't know if there's enough here to change your mind. If you like Ractonite or Tricranius for that matter, then I think this one might be enough to at least hold your interest. Then we get to G2 Leadfoot. Whoever saw that coming? Certainly one of the wreckers. Not a character I was really familiar with. I don't remember anyone having the original as a lad. I mean, it is what it is. But while I'm not a huge fan of the Earthrise Mirage mold, at least for Mirage, I really like the look of the yellow and blue contrasting here. It really caught my attention, and I said to myself, you know what? Maybe this is the version of the mold that will work for me. We're about to find out. We're about to see when we head over to the table and take a closer look at these two. Okay, so I skipped an awful lot from the Wreck and Rule line. I was a fan of the Impactor and Spindle set. I love the Twin Twist, but I mean, I have the original. I just didn't need the new one. I like the Springer mold, though I've heard that the Wreck and Rule one has a few tolerance issues, and I'm more of an animation accurate guy, so that's why I stuck with the Siege. And the bulkhead. I have the Legacy bulkhead. It's a fine transformer. I still assert that it's not exactly bulkhead. I didn't need it in a camouflage color, but you know, honestly, solid offerings for that entire line of exclusives. And I think it all makes sense for them to be exclusive, because if you don't have them, you're not missing a lot, but if you do, well, maybe you have some extra treats. And that brings us to this. This is the last of the Wreck and Rule sets. This is a 2-pack of Masterdominus and G2 Leadfoot. Now the Masterdominus, that's basically the same mold as, or certainly the same engineering, the same skeleton, we'll say, as Ractonite and Tricranius. This is a little bit different. We'll look at him in a moment. And of course, the G2 Leadfoot is the Earthrise Mirage mold reused. We'll talk about him a little bit later. But before either of them, let's start with the packaging first. And we have the Mammoth, Mastodon, I don't know what he turns into, mode over here for Masterdominus. which is why I think Mastodon maybe. And we have the robot mode there for our buddy G2 Leadfoot. Over here we have the Decepticon Legacy images, the Autobot Legacy images over here, even though I think both of these guys are Autobots, if I'm not mistaken. They're certainly both Wreckers. So yeah, here's the product images. Looks cool, looks fine. Our boy comes with this. It is the base of the hammer thing, if you want it. It's just cardboard. And we have a gigantic sheet of instructions. Whether or not you think that these are useful or not is up to you. We've seen these molds before. Now, I'm not going to do the transformations because we looked basically at them in episode 837 with Ractonite, and then we kind of looked at them again in episode 925 with Tricranius. So I don't think I need to do the transformations again. If you like parts forming and you're okay with it and you like the fossilizer gimmick, this is, you know, it's an 8 or 9. We'll say 8.5. If you don't like any of that, then this is like a 2 for you. You know, it really depends on if you like the fossilizer gimmick or not. We always ask for something new in Transformers. This was an attempt at something new. I like it. For the look of the guy, I'm going to give this, honestly, I'm giving this a solid 10. I love the matte black. I love the red inside the ribcage. I love the gold paint that's on here. And even the look of the Wrecker symbol on the chest, I think it's fantastic. In the package, the tusks were not put into the head, but you do it as, I don't know, a double-bladed thing, I guess? Because why not? I suppose. I did turn this shoulder around. It's supposed to be the other way with the gray jaw kind of on the outside of the shoulder and the black head closer to the robot mode head. But there's a looseness issue that I don't have when I turn the head around this way. That's one of the nice things about fossilizers. If you have a peg that's not quite tight enough in one peg hole, maybe you can alter it and it will work better in another one. Or if you have a pin that's not quite tight enough to your liking, maybe you can alter the angle and orientation of that pin so you don't have to worry about it as much. What about the articulation? If I'm saying, because I do like the gimmick, if I'm saying the transformation is an 8.5 and I'm saying the coloration is a 10, right now this guy is pretty fantastic. I mean, he's a 9. What about the articulation? Well, this can come down over his eyes if you wanted to. The head goes left and right, no real up or down. This arm goes all the way around. It can go well up and out. This all opens out. We have an elbow to 90 degrees. No real hands, but you're supposed to take this leg piece and put on here, and that gives you like the hand and leg, basically, right? Over here, again, the arm can go all the way around by rights, out to the side, not quite as far, but pretty good. Elbow to 90 degrees, bicep swivel. We do have a waist. We have legs forward, we have legs back. We have a very, I feel like low on the leg knee, but it goes to 90 degrees. And ankle tilt down there. And I think that's it. I think that's it, but he stands quite well. I'm going to say that the articulation is pretty acceptable. He's fairly solid. He was an 8.5. I'm going to say that the articulation's an 8. This guy overall is probably an 8.25, let's say, right? It's pretty good, but a lot of that will depend on how much you like the paint, how much you're okay with the gimmick, and how much you like the tolerances. Again, we're not doing the transformation, so we can go from our boy looking like this to our Mastodon boy looking like this. And like, this is fine. He has the legs elongated and extended instead of kind of bent at the knee, so he stands taller than Ractonite, as he should. I love the head. This whole front piece right here and the tusks, that was on his arm, so when you put this piece on the skull, you also need to turn the tusks so that the, I guess the gaps are on the inside of the tusks now, if that makes sense. Side on, there you go. I mean, he has a tiny tail, great looking skeleton. I mean, this looks like a fossilized mastodon. or mammoth. I'm going to say it's a mastodon. I mean, it's a big elephanty type of thing, right? Cool, cool. Again, the back legs are really what were the legs in robot mode. So you still have all the hips, and you have the knee, and you have the ankle tilt and everything. The front legs are the arms, basically. And there was a section that was kind of put on around the hand to almost give them like claw hands. That now becomes this upper part here. The front legs are the weak part because these pegs here don't move. So the legs on the front I guess they can go forward on this hinge, and I guess if you wanted to turn it, they could go out. I take that back. I take that back. I had a criticism here, but I take it back because I think it actually works fine. The articulation here is okay. I do like that the head can move. I think that that's a nice feature. It's all right overall. I think that Masterdominus, and mine is tolerance well, is an 8.5. If you don't like the gimmick, or yours has poorer tolerances than mine, then I could understand how you might give it a 3 or a 4 or a 5. But for me and my experience, and speaking as honestly and as objectively as I can, I gotta give this guy about an 8.5. Pretty good start for this set, but that's not the only one in this set. Now we are gonna see this guy loaded out later on Leadfoot. So let's get Leadfoot in his robot mode. That way we can see both of them together. And here we have the resident member of the Rotor Force, Leadfoot. And the Rotor Force was, I don't know, like it was a gimmick basically, where he had like a spin top thing. This does not come with said spin top. However, the alt mode here, based on the original G2, is pretty good. In fact, I think the way the arms and stuff are done, like kind of makes this cleaner in the end, because I think the G2 version was highly limited and clunky because it had to make the gimmick work, if that makes any sense. So I like this, and I love this metallic blue. I think the yellow looks good. We have a 93 up here, which is the correct number. He should have a 93. In vehicle mode, I mean, we're missing a couple of little blue details down right there. Arguably, the pieces going up to the tire here should be silver, but we do have silver rims on them all. Red in around the like seat, and blue in there as it basically should be. Really, the rotor thing should go right here, but like I'm not hateful of this at all. I think it's pretty darn good. We have his blaster on it and his shoulder blaster thingy on, so we're going to take both of those out. Because this is the Earthrise mold, the shoulder blaster thingy will not be able to go in. I'm not going to be showing the transformation here, going from robot to vehicle, because we already saw that. I looked at robot to vehicle when I looked at the Battle Across Time Mirage and Grimlock set in episode 945. So now we're going to do vehicle back to robot. That's the only thing that makes sense. And we're going to start by picking these up. We're going to do all of our scores after. I'm going to split the arms apart so that we got those up and kind of out of the way. Then we come down here and we should be able to split the legs. Now comes the trickiest part, which is getting these legs out, and I don't find that they like to work as well on the Earthrise mold as the Siege, but we'll see how it goes here with this guy. On the Siege one, they're like buttery smooth. It came down a bit better there. I do find they work better on this copy of the mold than on my Mirage version, for whatever that's worth. So we take that around, and then that goes on the back, and the foot goes out. Then, yeah, I think that goes that way. Then over here we'll do the same thing. Hopefully we can get it out here quickly and easily. Not too bad, not too bad. That goes all the way around. The foot comes down, and we solidify that. We turn at the waist, and no, we leave the waist this way because, all that went well off. I'm sorry. We leave the waist out because we're going to bring the kind of body down here. But before we do that, let's open this out, and we're going to take the head out. Little nerve-wracking putting the head in because it's painted, and it's a very tight thing. I don't know. I think it's yellow paint on yellow plastic, but it's a bit nerve-wracking, honestly. because I feel like I'm going to break something, we take the tire and bring it in, take the shoulder and bring it out, and bring it all the way down. Again, make sure we have this piece flipped up, flip the tire in, bring this whole piece out and down. We straighten these up on the shoulders, we bring out a hand, and we bring out a hand. Then we kind of bend the body back and collapse it down so that the torso goes in. By the way, when you're going in the other mode, you bend it a bit forward and extend it up. So I like that. It kind of gives them an ab crunch too, but we'll talk about that when we get to articulation. The transformation here, way easier than it is with the Mirage, I find. I'm going to give the transformation here, I'm going to give it a solid 8.75. Let's stand the guy up and finish his scores. Our boy here is front and center. Next to him we have the Earthrise Mirage. Yes, I have the siege arms put on him. Don't ask. It was just something I was experimenting with. Okay, so there you go. I think that the Leadfoot is the better use of this mold, so we're going to take this guy out of it. The transformation, like I said, smoother to me than on the Mirage. Even though the legs are still the finicky, fiddly part. We can put this in his hand, by the way, and we can still put this in his hand. It's too bad that this can't go on his shoulder. You'd have to mod something up there. But I'm honestly really happy with this guy. So when we look at the original, the arms were both more clunky, but we have the red fade into the yellow down here. Instead of having all of the spoiler on one shoulder, it's now on both shoulders. I think that's better. The head is perfect. Absolutely perfect. The center colors here with the red and the blue is accurate. The 93 on the bottom, still down here, is accurate. The wrecker symbol is new, but I'm okay with it. The all blue legs, gorgeous here. Gorgeous. I'm going to give the look of the guy a 10. Honestly, it is Leadfoot if you know the character. I didn't, but now that I do, it is Leadfoot. Almost to a T. So an 8.75 and a 10. The articulation for the guy, the head can go left and right, little up and down wiggle but not much. Arms go all the way around. They can go out to the side. The spoiler piece can move elbow to 90 degrees, bicep swivel. No wrist rotation. We're missing that more and more. What a shame. Waist, that's nice. I dig it. The leg can go all the way out to the side, can go all the way back and all the way forward. We have a knee to 90 degrees or slightly over. Thigh swivel, if I didn't say it already, and an ankle tilt. I wish we had wrists, and that's about it. I'm going to say that his articulation is 9.5. Honestly, 9.5. So if Masterdominus overall is about an 8.5, this guy overall, with an 8.75 for the transformation, a 10 for his look, and a 9.5 for his articulation, this guy's about a 9. 8.75 to a 9. That's a pretty darn solid set. The last thing I want to show you is, and boom, you can do something like this where you attach Masterdominus to Leadfoot if you want. So basically what we did is we took the robot mode pelvis and the entire legs, and that's plugged in on the back. Comes right up over the shoulders. On the bottom of the feet we have 5mm peg holes, or that's a lie. I think we have pegs, and we bring them forward and they go into essentially the hands and arms of the guy. I'll rotate him around in a moment. Then we took the main torso and we flip out the entire robot mode head and the centerpiece. That leaves a peg hole up inside. And if you remember what the robot mode looked like, instead of having hands, he almost has, I'll call them claws for lack of a better term. There's a little tiny piece there that has a peg hole on one end and a peg on the other. The peg hole goes up into this torso and goes over the peg hole that's up in, or the peg that's up in the torso. And then that leaves a peg down far enough that it can peg into his hand. It's a little precarious. It's definitely too heavy for his elbow joint. Like, he cannot hold that up at all. It's just, it's too much. Also, his blaster is plugged in behind his shoulder. That's where they say to put it, but it's super loose. Then we have over here, we have the back end, and this is the tail of the Mastodon mode. This is the front of the skull of the Mastodon without the tusks, pegged in here, and there's a little handle that goes in his hand, and the piece that I'm talking about that goes up here is a piece just like this. Like, it's a very small piece that has a peg here and a peg hole here. It's part of, like I said, his hand, but I really feel like it was done to allow this to happen. If we spin the guy around, you can see the blasters are on the back of his arms. They're loose, and in the center here we have the torso pegged in. So he looks pretty great overall. I mean, on the whole, it's not, I guess it's not bad. I would never put them together. I would leave them as separate characters myself, but I mean, to each their own. See, that doesn't stay behind his shoulder. Not on my copy. The star here is obviously Leadfoot. He is a little bit better. Masterdominus, I get it. Maybe you don't like the fossilizers. Maybe you don't like a Mastodon. Maybe you don't like doing this, but it is something different and new for Transformers, so it was an experimentation that honestly I like. I would like to incorporate bits and pieces of this guy and Spindle somehow, some way into my custom Onyx Prime, and adjust how that looks, because right now it's a bit of a unholy amalgamation, so I'd like to improve that, but I feel like that these guys really help serve something like that. If you're only going to get one of the 2 packs, I think the Impactor one is a little bit better, but I also understand that the draw here is a character that we don't have in the main line, and he is absolutely fantastic. Masterdominus, pretty good. Leadfoot, a little bit better. As a duo, overall score, I mean, I think we're looking at about a 9, maybe a 9.25. I'm real happy with both. And here we are once again, and here they are. So let's start with Masterdominus first, because why not? Masterdominus is fine. He's fine. I like that he's like a mammoth. I like that he has his tusks. I think that that's really cool. I'm saying he's a mammoth. I don't know exactly what he is, but Mastodon. I think that that's really cool. I like the Paleotrex version of fossilizers a little bit more than the Ractonite. The lower legs of the Ractonite are really strange. This one, the arms are a little bit loose, so I did a bit of a alternate transformation so that they're solid. That's one of the nice things about fossilizers, is sometimes if you have a joint or something that's loose, or the pin isn't all the way in and you can't happen to tighten it, or you tighten it, it's still not tight enough, or you know, you have one hinge that's a little looser, maybe sometimes you can switch things around a little bit to get a more workable version. And that's what I did, ever so slightly. Overall, outside of kind of wishing that a little bit of the tolerance on the arm was a little tighter in robot mode, I think it's great. I love the matte black. It's so different. It's so unique. It feels like soot on the bones to me. I love in between the ribs having the red highlights, maybe like cooling lava or embers or something. It's very much a torso and a rib cage that I adore, much like Tricranius is. Tricranius is beautiful, and so is this one here. The Ractonite one, it's alright. It's definitely an interesting one. If you didn't like the other uses of the Ractonite mold, you're not going to like this. You might like the coloration, you might put it in Mastodon mode and leave it. But I like them. I don't think it's quite as good as Spindle from the other 2-pack for the Wreck and Rule set, but I do like it. Then we get to Leadfoot. Again, I found the legs to be a little bit cumbersome here, and I don't know why. I don't know why the Siege legs work like smooth butter and why the Earthrise legs don't seem to. They do work a little better here than they do on my Mirage. They're kind of torturous to, not to go to car mode, but to come back to robot mode. On my Mirage, they're sort of torturous. Not a fan. A little bit easier here, but not a lot. And I haven't been able to pinpoint what it is. Otherwise, I'd shave something down. I would modify it if I had to. But boy, oh boy, is that blue metallic paint gorgeous. Really, really nice. And I like the yellow as well. I mean, there's a couple of instances with the yellow where it almost feels like it should fade in or something to me. Like, just the way it plays off of the blue is really, really nice. The head being painted yellow is a bit enigmatic because I think the plastic underneath is yellow. And while it's painted, I'm also very concerned that multiple transformations, because of the size of the head, at least on my copy, it really bars up solid, I mean, next to the armature that it needs to go past to transform to vehicle mode correctly. I'm afraid that the paint will scrape off in time. It hasn't yet, but I can't imagine how continuously scraping the head would result in anything other than paint scratches. Maybe I'm wrong. An okay set, an interesting set. I definitely think that the star here is Leadfoot. And if you're interested in having the set for Masterdominus, I mean, I understand, I guess. If you didn't like the Earthrise Mirage, I don't know if this will be enough to make you like it. It is for me, but that's got to be up to you, right? I've also heard some people say that this isn't their Leadfoot, they want the movie Leadfoot. That's fair too. This, again, is one, though, that I think, as far as being a exclusive goes, it makes perfect sense. If you don't get this, I don't think you're missing anything from your collection. But if you do get this, I think Masterdominus looks great. I think he has one of the most unique paint schemes I've ever seen in a Transformer. And I just like having the Leadfoot because it's an old character that was new to me. And honestly, when I think of, oh, what was his name? Oh, the name's eluding me. Rotorstorm, is that what it is? I can't remember his name. The reuse, somebody's going to say it in the comments to me, I'm sure. The reuse of the Siege Spinister mold that came out in Selects. I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. I'm blanking on it. But like, this guy looks beautiful next to him for what it's worth. Anyway, let me know what you think about this 2-pack. Did you pick it up? Did you not pick it up? This was the single most interesting of these exclusives to me personally. I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link, check us out on Patreon, see what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course hit the join button right here on YouTube and become a channel member. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, stick around and have some fun with us here on the channel, and especially don't forget that somehow, some way, each and every single solitary day, you right there, you do make a difference in the world. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights at the stop motion premieres, or the old fashioned way right here inside the videos.